So Jacqueline, tell me about your role, what you do, and how you work.
Sure. So I'm an associate professor at the University of California, San Diego. I am in the Department of Family Medicine and Public Health, but I'm actually based in the Qualcomm Institute. So I work alongside computer scientists and innovators every day. I'm the director of a group called REACH, which is Research in Environment, Active Aging and Community Health. The recognition of the Institute as the Qualcomm Institute has been exceptionally important for us. And the Institute, it has not just got a technology focus, it is focusing on art, culture and health. So that's where I come in from the health perspective. So to have a company associate itself with such a broad mission is really important. So certainly for the name recognition, for the opportunities to collaborate with technology leaders, and really to have a sort of, in some ways, a business mentality within the Institute where innovation is encouraged, thinking outside of the box is encouraged. Traditional paths are not encouraged. Take a different path, forge your own way, and that's really the spirit of the Institute, which it is inspirational because academic settings can in some ways be a little bit traditional, and so in that sort of context, I think as a woman trying to forge my way, there feels like there's more freedom to do so, and it's encouraged.
That's important. Do you feel like that, just to tie on to that, do you feel like the entrepreneurial spirit, if you will, is being tied into this particular area in some way, shape, or form? You talked about innovation, but would you go as far as saying entrepreneurial spirit?
Right. So in terms of entrepreneurial spirit, very much so in the Qualcomm Institute, there's in fact a whole floor that is dedicated to people with business ideas and business space. So it is supported. But I also think what may not be understood by everyone is, as an academic, and certainly in the School of Medicine where I am, I'm responsible for my own wage and the salary of all my staff and supporting students. So I actually operate like a small business. So when times are tough, it's tough for the person leading the group. So I certainly have to be creative in my ideas. I have to keep on the cutting edge because, for example, the National Institutes of Health that funds us, innovation is a huge part of that. We are always having to justify the innovation in our work. So in that way you always have to be creative. But a lot of my work is based in the community. It's based around transportation planning, regional planning. There's the Age-Friendly Cities initiative that's going to be launched. So I really want my research to be relevant for policymakers and practitioners. So that's a balance that I have to create. Yes, they need evidence-based, and innovation can help with that. But at the same time, it has to be grounded in changes that the county can make. Innovation in terms of what I would use for the National Institutes of Health to justify my work, for example, certainly is one, that it hasn't been done before, and two, that it advances the science and has public health significance. Both we are responsible for. So even though I use technology in some of my work, it's from the perspective of evaluation. The older adults I work with, for example, one of my studies was in 65 to 100-year-olds. The average age was 84. They don't need a mobile phone to be doing what it is that we're encouraging them to do. And in fact, some of the work I do, we've just been funded by the American Heart Association to reduce sitting time in postmenopausal Latinos. rutinas. And again, breaking away from technology is one of the keys there. Although we still use technology to remind us to stand up and to break up our sitting time, we're really encouraging people to move. As I mentioned, the work I do is about the environment. So I'm really trying to encourage people to go outside and spend time in nature and be physically active outside, to be part of their neighborhood, to not be stuck to their devices, even though some of them can help us track what we're doing, and that's really important. Self-monitoring is very important, because then you know where you're going and where you've been. But really, I'm encouraging people to develop a community, a community spirit, community presence, to support parks. So those things are not necessary technology bound. But certainly when I'm trying to demonstrate that I have impacted a behavior, I use technology to do that, because the more accurately I can do that, the more convincing the data is as well. The question of how we make San Diego an attractive place to remain, have a family, and do innovative work, it definitely is a challenging question with the prices of housing, etc. But there's definitely a sunshine factor that helps. So what I do in my research, and which I think also we have developed in the department. So our department is led by Dr. Bess Marcus, who is the only female head of department in the School of Medicine. And again, we talked about having female leaders and to see them, and that has been amazing to see. And what she has also brought is many opportunities and very transparent paths to promotion and to opportunities. So that's definitely helpful for me, to be in an environment where somebody is driving that. For myself, I really have to try to develop a research team where we have values, and those values are life balance and health. We work on health, but had to have it within our group. So I think that certainly makes it attractive for people to come and stay with our team. And then certainly within UCSD, sure, it's a really competitive, challenging environment, but the corollary of that is it's a really dynamic, creative environment, and you can literally, it's a candy jar, and you have to stop yourself, in fact, because there's so many amazing opportunities. For example, recently Rob Knight joined UCSD, and he's leading research in the microbiome, and we are collaborating to look at the gut microbiome in people in my studies, and I have all the information about how much time they spend outside, how much time in parks, so what they're exposed to and how that might affect our health. So there really are fantastic opportunities for people in San Diego. And then I mentioned the environment work and the policy and work I do with the county now in public health. San Diego County is really one of the leaders in innovation. A number of years ago, we received the Center for Disease Control Communities Putting Prevention to Work, and they have followed that up with a Live Well San Diego, and as I mentioned, we're planning to work on the Age-Friendly Cities initiative. So I feel like it's a county who are really interested in evidence-based policy and practice, and changing systems so that our city and our county and our infrastructure supports health. So from that perspective, for me, it really is the place to be.
Absolutely.
Planning process in San Diego and in all cities, where you might have a town hall meeting, for example, and then those who can come. And they recently tried to do that through different medium recently. But I think if we can use technology and have people able to, on their phone, anytime you go for a walk and you see something that's a problem, there's an app that you can use to put it in, and then that informs the plan, and you can actually voice your understanding of where you live
Yeah.
and your desires for how to change it. So I think technology could be really used in that way. And in fact, next week there is a conference called Metro Lab, and it is about cities. So it'll be really interesting to see what comes out of that. And that's going to be held here at UCSD. And you know, I'm actually an advisor on the California State AARP Livable Communities Committee. And for example, there we have the mayor of West Sacramento is one of the advisors too, and he was saying that how can we have it where when you're at the grocery store you're answering a few questions about something in your neighborhood that you maybe want to give input on. So it doesn't all have to be in mobile phone, but how can we just throughout life have this more even if it seems then passive abstraction of what we want. And then I think that the more we get engaged, then the more we won't have to do it in these places. We will all be there. We will be having these conversations already and be part of a sort of open city that really supports community.
Absolutely. Awesome. Thank you so much, Jacqueline. Great job.